Hello everyone, and welcome to part 2 of my game flow series on Ramza. So, last time we saw Ramza using triple break, and I kind of put an emphasis on how if you're going to use that attack, because it has a slow startup and a slow execution, you really have to be quick on the draw. If you see an opportunity to use it, you can't hesitate because the enemy team may descend on you. So you really want to make sure you have a clean opportunity and not hesitate, or that your friends are going to cover you while you do the attack. Well, this game is going to be a bit different because he's using Holy, which is a long-range HP attack. So he doesn't really have to have that same dynamic of finding a chance to be in the middle of the fight. But you're still going to see the normal Ramza dilemma of when to charge your EX skill and when to fight it out. So here we go with the match, and you'll notice right now that Ramza's team has 2 melee characters and Ramza the specialist. So it's already going to be different from last time when he had the shoot, so he's probably not going to start the match doing his long-range projectile along with anyone else because he doesn't have anyone to do it with. So he starts the match by charging up, he gives himself a shout, uses the tree for protection, and there's the team buff, Steel. So he's buffed his team, but still he's going to charge one more time to make sure that when he runs at a shout, he has one ready to go. And you saw that he did that. It was a long time to spend charging, but Garland was tracking him. So at least his allies still had a 2v2 rather than a 3v2. He knew that he had one of the enemy teammates over there with him, so he was able to do that. Even so, I think this Ramza spends a little bit too much time out charging. Like, he's far away from the entire team charging. And he still, again, he has one person watching him, but it's a problem that you have to decide. You and your team will have to decide how your Ramza player will tackle that. But aside from that, you've noticed that whenever he's got his charge up, he really tries to stay involved in the fight. And so he's kind of filling the role of another speeder, another vanguard, along with his allies by keeping pressure on the enemy. And there you saw Kane was able to land a kill off screen. And so what Ramza just did there was he launched Holy at the enemy. And this is what's good about Holy and having his buff up, is that he can stay in the fight and just kind of monitor his teammates and look for an opportunity to cast Holy. Like, he just cast it and he's going to get this kill. And the reason it didn't happen on screen was because when you attack someone, as you know, the target line to them turns red and warns them of the attack. So if you attack someone with a long range attack and then immediately switch off of them, like he just did again, they won't see the red target line. So even though Holy has a big white space under it, there's actually a lot of graphics happening in the game. So it's still a good tactic to try to get an attack in. So now the enemy team has their summon up, and you remember last game I said you had to kind of make a decision on if you wanted to steal or shout to help yourself or help your teammate while the enemy summon is up. Well, this Ramza has chosen to kind of stay in the fight and try to get the kill, mainly probably because they're one away from winning, so he's trying to push the advantage. But see, he eventually does choose to steal buff his team and then give himself his shout and try to create a more stable situation for himself and his team. So he's able to nail his EX skill, his general EX skill on the enemy team there. But he gets caught by Garland. And one thing that you have to notice is that earlier in the fight, remember that just because you have your shout buff up with Ramza, it doesn't make you able to challenge heavy type characters. They're still going to beat you out if you clash head on. And that was probably an opportunity to use Holy on Garland, but he wouldn't have been able to kill him, so he let it go. And that was actually what I was talking about, the instance where they both attacked each other, but Ramza lost out. And so what he's doing now is summoning, and a teammate is going to die. And I feel like this is the same situation where, as charging, just is it going to be worth it for you to be sitting out of the fight like this? That's really the biggest hurdle to becoming a good Ramza player, and I think that's why his play rate in the arcades and solo queue is pretty low, just because it is a hard thing to manage, and some people just may not see it as fun to be sitting out of the fight, not participating. But again, now that they have their summon out, this Ramza he's staying in the fight, and he's going to try to push their advantage. And you see him looking around just for an opportunity to capitalize on someone involved in something else, and he uses Ramza's superior range when he shouted to try to make that possible. He just used Mighty Strike on his team, so now everyone is going to get more brave for their attack, so it's a really good time to try to make something happen, and here he goes. They did a 4-hit combo to land that kill. Ramza did hit 1 of his attack, Kane did hit 1 of his attack, Ramza followed up with hit 1 of his attack again, and then Jekt was able to finish it off with Jekt Finger, or a Triumphant Grasp, and that was how they won the match. And that's one thing you want to note for later when you're playing with your own team, is those team combos. So if you hit someone, it puts them in hit stun because the game is giving you time to finish your own combo, but if your allies come in, then you can keep someone in hit stun as long as the enemy team doesn't interrupt and intercept. So that's how they were able to get that win. It was just Ramza, Kane, Ramza, and then Jekt. So that's my video on Holy. The takeaway for me is that with Holy, you can play a more aggressive Ramza and not have to worry about those opportunities for HP attacks. It's just something else that's not on your mind, because what you can do is you can just look off into the corner of the screen or on the mini-map and see if you have an opportunity, lock on, press square, log back off, and forget about it. It's a much quicker transaction than using triple break, and so that's another option for Ramza. Until next time, Nameless Heroes.